Good morning, everybody. As we go to the chitas of the day, we're holding in the book of Shemais. Holding the book of Shemais, chapter 3, verse number 1. Moshe hayaroya es tzoyin Yisrei chaystay. And Moshe Rabbeinu was a pastor, shepherd of his father-in-law's sheep. And he led the flock after the free pasture land. He went specifically to the desert. That's what it means free. It was open to the public. And he came to that mountain of God, Chareva, which was in Chayrev. So now she says, he went to an open area. He was very careful not to steal from other people's property. They should not feed in other people's lands. Why is it called the mountain of God? He came to Mount Sinai. Al-Shema Asid, this teaches us the name of the future, even though this would happen many years later. Not many years later. It was a year later. And an angel of God appeared to him in a flame of fire from the thorn bush. And he saw, and he saw, Moshe Rabbeinu saw that this bush is burning in fire, but the thorn bush was not being consumed. So now she said, Belavas Eish. Belavas Eish is like a big flame in the heart of the fire. Why did God reveal himself to Moshe Rabbeinu in a thorn bush and not into another tree? God wanted to show him, God wanted to show Moshe Rabbeinu that he is in the thorn bush. He's in the pain of the Jewish people. Uchal nechal means it's not being consumed, like which is verse number 3. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, "Asura no, let me turn around now, and see this unbelievable spectacular, this unbelievable situation. The snare is being consumed, but it's not being consumed. Why does not this bush get burned from this fire?" So Asura no, Rashi says, let me turn away from here and draw near to there. It's interesting that you should know that in essence it means many people saw this burning bush, but nobody looked. Moshe Rabbeinu was the first one to say, let me look and see. Because that's where you see the next verse, number 4. And when God saw that, he turned to see. And God called out to me from this bush. And he said to him, Moshe. And he said, here I am. Verse number 5. He said to him, do not near here. Don't come too close. Take your shoes off of your feet. Because the place which you stand upon, Admas Koideshu, this is a holy place. And that says shal. The word shal means to pull off and remove, as we find in other places. Admas Kodesh, this place is a holy place. Verse number 6. God said to him, I am the God of your fathers, Avram, the God of Abraham, Yitzchak, the God of Isaac, Yaakov, the God of Jacob. I asked him, Moshe upon him, and Moshe Rabbeinu hid his face, because he was afraid to look at God. Verse number 7. Hashem, God said, I have surely seen as Ani Ami, the affliction of my nation. Asher b'Mitzrayim, who is in Egypt. As Akasam Shamati Mitei Noikshav, and I heard their crying out from those who are at them. their oppressors. I know their pains. So now she says, what means if I know their pains? This is limited to God knew. That is to say, I set my heart to contemplate and to know their pains. And I have not hidden my eyes. Neither do I block my ears from their cry. They shouldn't think that I do not hear their pain and I do not hear their cry. Verse number 8. And now I have descended to take them out of Egypt, to bring them out of this land. That land. I'm going to bring them to a land that is good and spacious. To a land of flowing of milk and honey. To the place, to the land of the Canaanites. Bringing them to these lands. Number 9. And now behold, the cry of the children of Israel have come to me. And I've also seen their oppression, which the Egyptians are oppressing them. Verse number 10. So now come, I will send you to the Pharaoh. And they will take out, and they'll take out my children of Israel from the land of Egypt. Rashi says, and if you ask, of what help will this be? And take my people out, your words will help. And you will take them out of there. You're going to do it. Verse number 11. Moshe Rabbeinu said to the Abraham, Mi anochi, who am I? Who am I? I'm going to go to the Pharaoh. Who am I? What does that mean? Who am I? Of what importance am I that I should speak with kings? And even if I am important, what merit do the Israelites have that a miracle should be brought upon them and I should take them out of Egypt? What do I have? Number one, who am I? Number two is, what's so special about the Jewish people? Why should they be taken out of exile? Verse number 12. God said, for I will be with you. And this is the sign. This is going to be the sign that I have sent you. When you're going to take out the Jewish people out of Egypt, you will come and serve God on this mountain. This was Mount Sinai. So now she says, God answered his former question first and his latter question last. Concerning what you said, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? This mission is not yours. Who are you? You're nobody. You're nobody. You're my messenger. So that's number one. For I am with you. So what are you asking? Who are you? Nobody. I'm choosing you to represent me. That's number one. And this vision, which you have seen from this bush, is a sign for you that it was I who sent you, and that you will succeed in your mission. And I'm able to save you. Just as you saw the thorn bush performing my mission and not being harmed, so will you go on my mission and not be harmed. Concerning what you ask, what merit do Israelites have that they should go out of Egypt? I have a great thing dependent on this exodus. For at the end of 3 months from their exodus from Egypt, they are destined to receive the Torah on this mountain. So that's your question number 2. Another explanation, for I will be with you. And this, namely, that you will succeed in your mission on which I am sending you, is a sign for you for another promise, which I promise you. Namely, that when you take them out of Egypt, you will serve God on this mountain. for you will receive the Torah on it. And that is in the merit that we will stand up for Israel. That's going to be your merit. If you're going to stand up for the Jews, you'll merit to bring them to this mountain. Similar to his expression, where are the future events serve as a sign for a still more distant event? We find, and this shall be a sign, an ois for you. This year you shall eat what grows by itself. This is the story of the future. So in essence, what you see in the present is going to be a proof of the future. Some kind of downfall will be a sign for you regard another promise. So too, that you're going to take the Jews out of Egypt is going to be a proof, is going to be a sign that you're going to ultimately bring them to this mountain. Verse number 13. Moshe said to God, I'm going to come to the Jewish people. And I will tell them, I'm going to tell them, the God of our fathers sent me. They'll tell me, what is his name? What should I tell them if they ask me, what is his name? Verse number 14. So God said to Moshe, Eya asher eya. I will be what I will be. He said to him, this is what you should tell the Jewish people. Eya shalchani aleichem. I will be has sent me to you. What does that mean? I will be who I will be. So therefore Rashi says, Eya, I will be with them in this predicament, and I'll be with them in their other predicaments that they're going to go through in life. Moshe Rabbeinu said to the Lord, why should I mention them other troubles? You're telling them I should tell them you're going to be with them in this predicament. This is not the last predicament. You're going to be in another predicament. You're going to be in another predicament, and you're going to be in another. I'll still be with you. Why would I tell them that? They had enough of problems with this one. He said, you're right. He said to him, you have spoken well. So shall you say, Eya. That's why at the end of the verse it says, I'm with you in this pain. I am with you right now in this situation. Verse number 15. So then another thing God said to Moshe, this is what you should tell the Jewish people. The God of your fathers, Avram, the God of Abraham, Yitzchak, the God of Yitzchak, Yaakov, the God of Jacob, Shalchani Aleichem has sent me to you. Zeh Shmi La'olam, this is my name forever. Zeh Zichli L'dei V'der, and this is my remembrance from generation to generation. So now she says La'olam. The word la'olam, if you look at the word, is missing a vav. Why? Without a vav, meaning conceal in it. God is hidden in the world. That's why la'olam is missing. We understand la'olam is to conceal. That God's name is written in a concealed way. That's why the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yud Kei Vav Kei is God's name. Yashmi. My name is a hidden name. We don't even say the name, Yud Kei Vav Kei. We say Adonai, because it's a very hidden name. And therefore, Zeh Zichri, God taught him, Moshe Rabbeinu, how it was to be read. And so does David said, oh Lord, your name is forever, oh Lord. Eventually your name is for every generation. So you have to know how to say, we don't say God, that name of God. That's the hidden name of God. In essence, God tells Moshe Rabbeinu to tell the Jewish people that this is the powerful name. You know the name, and it's going to be the name that's going to be with you forever and ever. And that name is Yud Kei Vav Kei, is also in Kabbalah a concept of chesed, the aspect of kindness. That ends the Chumash of the day. We're going to continue the Tanya of the day. We are holding in chapter 14. Chapter 14. Alter Rebbe Now that he explains the aspect of a Beinoni, that a middleman is something that every Jew has an obligation to try to be, because every person needs to have the concept of mind over matter and control the moment not to do a sin. Now the Alter Rebbe goes back to the beginning of Tanya. In the beginning of Tanya, he said that when a soul comes down to the world, God makes the soul make a vow that he's going to be a tzaddik and not to be a rasha. That's the Gemara. The Gemara says in the Sechta Nida that we make a soul before it comes into the world. God calls the soul in and tells him, "I'm sending you to this body, and I'm making you make a vow." And he tells him whatever he's going to be. He's going to be wealthy, poor, healthy, family. He tells him A to Z. But he tells him, "I'm not going to be righteous and wicked. I'm not going to tell you what you're going to be. That's up to you. Therefore, I'm going to give you a vow. Be a righteous man and don't be wicked." It's very interesting, Alter Rebbe says. At first glance, it's questionable. If you make a person make a vow, if you make the soul make a vow, you should be righteous. Why do you need to make a second vow not to be wicked? If you should be righteous, you're not going to be wicked. So why is there a double vow? Says because not every person is privileged to be a tzaddik. This is very interesting. Nor does a person have a full advantage of choice in this matter. It's not your choice per se to be a tzaddik. It's not totally your choice. This to have true delight on God is not totally in my capacity, and it's not my capability. In the same, so when a person has a love of God, he's going to have a hate of the opposite of godliness. So not everybody merits to such a level, and I'm not going to be a tzaddik. That's not my journey. So therefore, therefore, there's a second vow. So the vow is I should try to emulate a tzaddik, but I surely shouldn't be a rasha. So that's why so really I'm in the middle. I can aspire what a tzaddik is, and therefore make me a vow. I should always aspire and look up at a tzaddik. And I should, the second, which I'll never be, maybe, never ever ultimately be, but I should never be a rasha. The second vow, don't be a wicked man. Because in the concept of not being wicked, so if I'm not going to be righteous and I have a vow not to be wicked, so what do I have to be? A middleman, a Beinoni. Being a middleman. Being a middleman, not a wicked man, that everybody has that choice. So to be righteous, not everybody per se has that choice. Not to be wicked, every person has that choice. To be able to control the spirit of the lust in his heart, to conquer his nature. He should not be a rasha even one moment throughout his life. Whether it's in the concept of going away from evil, whether it's in the concept of doing good, that in doing good, in struggling in doing good, and continue doing Torah and mitzvahs, as Torah, the true aspect of good is Torah. Talmud, especially the learning of Torah, that I should continue to struggle to want to learn more Torah and more Torah and more Torah, because Talmud Torah, Keneged Kulam, the learning Torah, is as equal as all other mitzvahs. And I have that free choice. I waste time and I don't learn Torah is my own choice. It's not somebody else's forcing me. It's my own Yetzer Hara that is convincing me I shouldn't learn Torah. Without the Rebbe says that's the struggle. So that's why we have the vow. You shall be righteous. And the second vow is please do not be wicked. So what should I be? I should be a Beinoni. Alter Rebbe says, even though you're not going to be a tzaddik, Even though a person is not going to be totally righteous, the person shouldn't say, you know what, I'm not going to be righteous. I'm always going to have a desire for evil, for negative things. And that's life. I got, that's my lot. So what do you want for my life? Alter Rebbe says, nevertheless, a person has to make a time to think about this. A person has to think about this very clearly, to figure out a way how he also can come to the concept to hate evil. He might not be a tzaddik, but loving evil is not a good thing, because then we become immune to evil. That's the sad thing. We become immune to the evil. And when we become immune to evil, chas v'shalom, it becomes a nature to do it. That's we see the world at large today. You know, things that were totally not heard of 50 years ago, today normal. Why? Because slowly it became part of the normal part of society, because we got used to it, and that's not good. That's not good. We have to figure out in our lives a way to think about how do we abhor evil. Let's say, for example, Alter Rebbe gives an example of human nature to lust. A man has evil desires, and he has evil thoughts and evil desires of women that are not his wife. So what is the Eitzah? How does one overcome to overcome him to have a desire of other women? So that Chachamim said, that a person has to look at somebody else's wife as something that is filthy to him. She might be beautiful, but she's filthy to me. So therefore, my wife is beautiful and allowed to me. So why would I have even a thought of another woman? It's mos. It's something that's totally, to me, an unclean thing. So not that, oh, she's beautiful, but I cannot have it. No, it's disgusting to me. I have Baruch Hashem, I'm happily married, and I want to have a relationship only with my wife. Why would it even come to my mind somebody else's wife or some other woman? And that's why we need to look at something. That's why we need to ultimately look at other things that way. So non-kosher food should be something that's mos to me. Not that, oh, it looks delicious, but I cannot eat it. No, it makes me sick. Why would I want to eat this thing that to me, maybe to another person, to the nations of the world, it's a beautiful delicacy. But to me, it's davar mars. It's something that is despicable to me. And I need to come to that kind of level. The whole that vessel full of waste. So this is a very interesting concept. The Rebbe says we cannot look at evil and say, "Oh, you know what? Evil is okay as long as I don't do it." Because ultimately, if I'm going to have that attitude, chas v'shalom, I'm ultimately going to do it. And that's not a tzaddik. A tzaddik has to look at something that is not his as totally not connected to him. And so too regarding all the pleasures of this world. The wise man foresees what comes from them. What comes from them? Ultimately rot and become worms and refuse, become nothing. So a chacham sees that ultimately everything is vanity. And if it's vanity, why would I deal with vanity? Why would I deal with something that is negative? And ultimately, every taiva to me every not good thing to me is gonna come to me and haunt me. So even if I have a thought of something, even though I'm not gonna do it, but the thought itself is gonna grow on me, and it's gonna grow on me. And why would I deal with evil thoughts? Hepech, and the opposite is to delight and rejoice in the godliness. The best to reflect on godliness according to his capability. Even though the person I know that I'm never going to be a tzaddik, that I'll never have the ultimate delight of God. I'll have a delight according to my capability. That doesn't mean I'm going to be a righteous person. No. Even though it's an imagination, to me, it's my imagination. So my imagination, this is an unbelievable delight. Even though I know, comparison to a righteous person, this is nothing. But that's not important. It's important, again, what's important is what it talks to me, how it affects me. And if I have a delight in God, in this aspect of godliness, that is what's important to me. Might not be important to somebody else, but it's important to me. Alpha became, nevertheless, a person should do his part because he has a vow. We have a vow, and the vow is you should be righteous. And therefore, a Jew has to also try to accomplish the first vow. And that first vow is be righteous. And therefore, a person, as Alter Rebbe says, being righteous means that he loves God and he despises the opposite of godliness. It's disgusting to him, the opposite of godliness. And even though it's not, that concept is not going to be in perfection, because only a righteous person can reach up to perfection in that aspect, but a Beinoni can reach up to his perfection in that aspect. To be mosberah, to love God and to despise evil. That evil should not be something that he handles, but evil is something that it makes him sick and it makes him feel bad. And that's the truth. When you see negative in the world and you know you cannot per se change it, you should feel bad. And you say, okay, this is the world. I'm living my own cocoon. I'm living my own world. No, that's not a tzaddik. That is not right. That's the question of what's yours is yours, mine is mine. I'm living my own little world. No, a tzaddik cares about the world. He feels the pain, just like God says, I feel the pain of what's happening in the world. A righteous person also feels the pain of what's happening in the world. And it's a painful situation for him. So therefore, a person should say, oh, but I'm okay, I protected myself. No, first, that's why there's a second vow. You shall be righteous. You shall be righteous. Try to be righteous. Try to create a righteous reality in your existence. And the Hashem Yasa Tebeinav. And the Eibishter will do what's good in his eyes. Don't worry, if the Eibishter wants to make you a tzaddik, he'll make you a tzaddik. But that's not your agenda. Your agenda is to be a Beinoni. And think about how you can emulate in your own life a righteous kind of reality. Stretch furthermore, even furthermore, every habit reigns supreme in all man. That's habit. Humans are habitual. Things become a habit. The nasa teva sheni, and it becomes a second nature. When a person accustoms himself to loathe evil, he will find a little bit, to some extent, that he loathes evil. And when a person accustoms himself to rejoice in God, through his meditation, if he's going to do it every day, meditate on God, to be happy and to connect to God, through the principle of an arousal of a mountain below brings a corresponding arousal above. Perhaps all this effort, a spirit from above will ascend upon him. Maybe the Alter Rebbe says, you know what? Number one, first of all, it's good to act like a tzaddik, even though you're not a tzaddik. Number two is you're by acting in a certain way, you'll become a second nature. Number three, I'm going to give you number three. The Alter Rebbe says, number three, you know what? Maybe God will see how much a tzaddik you want to be. And God will say, you know what? Maybe God will grant him a soul of a level of the ruach, or originated in the soul of some tzaddik, will be impregnated in him so that he may serve God in true joy. The Abishter will give him a gift and he'll give him a change of his soul. He'll give him impregnate him within him this soul of a righteous tzaddik. It's a very interesting thing. That's it. It says when you look over here, the Kabbalah speaks of the soul of a tzaddik impregnating another soul with the faculty that is the latter may serve God as a tzaddik does. This concept is somewhat akin to Gilgul, where a soul is attached to some object or animal or another human being, except that in the case of Gilgul, the soul is chained and dominated by the body, domination of the body, which is attached. Where in the case of impregnation, it is not. The soul of tzaddik serves merely as an additional spiritual charge for the soul of the recipient. In our context, the impregnation of the Beinli soul with the Ruach originated in the tzaddik soul enables the Bein to experience a delight in God that he could not attain on his own. Simchu tzadikim b'Hashem, and it says, "Rejoice, O tzadikim, in God." This alludes to the idea that when two types of tzadikim are joined together, the verse addresses the tzadikim in plural form. When Ben Abeni, called a lower level tzaddik, is impregnated with the soul of a tzaddik, of a higher level tzaddik, they both rejoice in God. For the tzaddik imparts his delight in godliness to the Beinoni. That could happen. That takes Vesiskayim Boyed. If he can reach that level, in this way, the oath charged to him to be a tzaddik will be truly fulfilled. And if you can accomplish that, that is unbelievable. If you can accomplish that. And that ends the Tanya, very powerful Tanya, teaching of Tanya of this day. 1 second. Let me get my phone to tell you the Tillim of the day. Today is the 22nd day of the month. The Tillim is 106, 107. 106 and 107. Have a beautiful, wonderful, happy, healthy, gorgeous day. See you tomorrow at 8 a.m.